And even before it came out, I would get into discussions with people, family. They would ask me constantly, "Are you getting the vaccine?" I would just say, "No, I'm not." I would tell them to their face, like I wasn't going to act like I was. I wasn't going to, just go along with the group. I've never been that type of person. That's just who I am. And I definitely wasn't going to do that on this. And I had relatives, I had friends, people I knew. I had a time where two of my family members literally cornered me. Had me, there was like something that we had to do. Literally cornered me and yelled in my face, telling me how big of a piece of shit I was for not getting vaccinated. And I experienced this to varying degrees. And I know a lot of other people who had similar things happen where they had family get upset with them about it. They had they lost friends, relationships broke up over this thing. And because, there was a side there, there were two sides of the aisle, right? There was the side of the aisle that did the, you're killing grandma thing. The leftists who are like all they care about is like people being happy and safe and whatever. And then there's the other side of the aisle, which was like, hey, I don't trust this shit. I don't trust this government shit. I don't want to risk myself to this. And, I remember people would make the argument that like, people have a right to go out into the world and feel safe. And that's honestly fucking ridiculous. It's a ridiculous proposition that would be something that's reasonable. Like this worldview that like people deserve to be safe. Like, no, nobody deserves anything. Like we are all humans living in this world, and we have, varying degrees of ability to be able to go out into this world, and that's it. And like ultimately at the end of the day, like you have a choice as to whether you want to leave your house or not. You don't get to just authoritarianly control the entire world to mold around and fit your worldview and your choices or whatever. And I just say all this. It's really upsetting because I know, and I've grappled with this for years, and I've waited for years for one fucking person to come up to me and say, hey, Coleman, I really treated you like shit during those years, and I apologize. It wouldn't even have to be much. You wouldn't even have to say like you're right. As much as I would love somebody to tell me that, I love people telling me that, right? It wouldn't even have to be something like that. It would just have to be like, hey, you know what? I treated you like shit, and I'm really sorry. Because there are times in my life where I've treated people like shit, and I've always tried to rectify that, even if it's years later. I remember, in high school, I was like, I had a hard time with dating and with women and with self-esteem, and I did some really shitty things in those days, and I really regret them to this day. And like it would be years later, and I would like be shooting a message like, hey, I think about how I acted during that time, and I feel awful about it, and I just want to apologize. And not expecting anything from that, not expecting some kind of gratification or whatever, just honestly saying like, I really fucked up, and I'm really sorry. I feel awful about this. And, even after apologizing, feeling awful about this. These people who, shame people for not getting vaccinated, were willing to completely ostracize people from their lives, treat people like shit for making a personal choice. We will never receive an apology from those people. Ever. It's been 4 or 5 years at this point since the COVID madness really ended. I mean, it never ended, Fuck, I was in the store today and I saw a guy with a mask. Not even, the crazy thing, he wasn't even wearing it. He just had it on his chin. I'm like, we're back to that shit. We're like, the people, there was like all these people who were like half-assed, like, trying to do it. Like, they're like, hey, like, I'm gonna like dangle in my ear and say like, hey, I'm with you, but I'm not really with you. You know what I mean? It's fucking funny, but funny, but not funny. I thought about this today too. I remember one time during COVID, I was walking down the street, and I think it was at the time where restaurants and bars were open, but you had to be masked and had to do all that stuff. Like, I think there might have been I remember you had to use disposable utensils, which I can't imagine the waste that produced. But I think they also had like those shield guards up, whatever. Anyways, these people were outside. They were, eating without their masks. I think the thing was like, if you were at your table, you could take your mask off, obviously, because you have to eat. And I saw it was these two ladies. One of them pulled out their phone and they went in to take a selfie, to take a picture with each other. They both put on their masks, took a picture, and then immediately when they did that, just took the mask right back off and just continued about their day. And it was clear from the beginning that so much of this was, this is where we really saw the radicalization of like virtue signaling. All this to say, like, it's really sad because I think these people who really, and I'm not talking about people who like just went along with it like for the sake of their job. Like, there are plenty of people who were not vocal about it, who were just like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna criticize you for not getting vaccinated or XYZ. I'm gonna get the vaccine because either I want to feel safe or I want to be back. I want to integrate myself back into society. I can't lose my job. Like, I'm not talking about these people. I'm talking about the people who actively went out of their way to ostracize people, scream at people, exclude people out of their lives, treat people like shit because of this. And I know that those people will never apologize. They may even, I think a lot of them will even accept to this day, like, that was all bullshit. Especially to the stuff with Fauci. Like, I think I can't imagine. I mean, I shouldn't say I can't imagine, because I think like 35% of the population is just retarded and they just go along with the shit no matter what. But like, I think most, a lot of people, I'm sure, watched this stuff with Fauci and something had to click. Something had to click where it's like, maybe this wasn't what they sold it to be. And because there's been a lot of moments since then where that has happened. And I can't I just can't wrap my head, like, as a logical person, I can't wrap my head around that and think like, oh, this makes sense, the way people reacted to this, like, and people can just like still buy, still drink the Kool-Aid after all this. Like, it baffles me that people can do that. And I don't know, even if they were able to see the error of their ways, they won't apologize, because in their mind they'll think, well, it was such a crazy time and it was the only option. Or maybe they're even willing to admit that it was just the more comfortable option. And, I think there are people that got radicalized even more than I did. And this played a huge role in it. How people treated. I guess that's kind of just, that's the vibe I wanted to bring to the episode today. Is, and I still say to this day, like, fuck you. Fuck you. You are a piece of shit. If you were one of these people, if you were one of my family members, if you were one of the people who used to be friends with me, and you treated me like shit because of something that a personal choice that I made, go fuck yourself. Fuck you. Fuck you. How about this, huh? That's for you. You fucking piece of shit. You disgraceful human being for treating somebody like crap because of their personal choice that they made. Fuck you. You are a fucking piece of shit. you should feel shitty every day. When you see this COVID stuff, when you see this stuff play out, you should feel the way people felt when they looked at Fauci. The way Fauci, I mean, he's a fucking monster and a sociopath, but you could tell there were parts of that interrogation, that hearing where you could just tell he's like, oh, fuck, I look really bad. You should feel at least a semblance of that. You should feel guilty as fuck for how you treated people, how you treated your family members, your loved ones, your friends, over a personal choice, over something that we now know is nothing. And look, I'm not a scientist by any means. I'm not a medical person, but I will say anecdotally, every person I know that got that vaccine has gotten COVID like 5-7 times, at least. Like, they're the people that to this day you still hear like, yeah, they got COVID again. I got COVID one time. I think like a year within that first year that this all happened. And look, it was awful. It was shitty. Like, I'm not going to sit here and downplay how it was. There are people who didn't get affected at all, really. But like, yeah, that shit took me out for like a day or two. You know what? Day 3, I was back to work. I was fine. I felt fine. I felt great. The taste was probably the thing that was still lingering for a couple days, but that went away eventually too. And I never got it again. And like, you know, I'm a homebody. Like, I'm not really one that's like going out and partying or doing all this stuff, right? But like even the people I know that did, they only got, you know, they maybe got COVID 1 or 2 times. The people who got vaccinated, the people who were like in line, wanted the boosters, got like every single shot. Like, I know family members, like they would be like, you know, group texting each other like, hey, you getting the booster? You doing this? Like the social parasite that what COVID became, it was terror. It was just insane. It was insane to me. It was like, you're really just going along with this. It's like, I don't get, it's like people are like, they're like walking satellite probes. Like they intake a signal. They're like, okay, I got this signal. I have to go do this thing. And I have to tell everybody that they have to do it. I have to make sure everybody else is, you know, on board with this. And we're just going to do this. We're not going to think about any consequences. We're not going to think if this logically makes any sense. Like, hey, you know, maybe something that isn't even a vaccine, is like, you know, they might have to tweak something. Like if I built a car, if I was the first person to, you know, the Wright brothers, if I built a plane and I was like, okay, this is ready to go. Like, everybody can just go ahead and fly this. That would be moronic. You'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, we have to like test this. We have to see how this works out. And, you know, obviously medicine's a little, not quite a 1-to-1 with like the plane, but like, come on, man. Like we're going to need some time to be able to figure out, like, is this not only effective, but is it safe? And, you know, there's been a lot of evidence that's come out since then where that, like, it's very clearly not the case. That's very clearly not the case, of what's going on.